In first days of half-term in the bustling city somewhere in England, lived two sisters, Emily and Lily. One day they were so excited to explore the new theme park that had recently opened up in the city. They had been looking forward to it for weeks, and their parents had finally agreed to take them there when they off school. The younger sister with long blonde hair was just 10 years old, but she had a mature air about her. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity, and she always seemed to be looking for an adventure. Her older sister, with dark brown hair that fell in waves around her face, was 14 years old and had a more serious demeanor. Her eyes were deep and dark like the night sky, and she had a quiet confidence that made her seem wise beyond her years. Together, they made an inseparable duo, facing the unknown with courage and a sense of wonder. The park was located in the outskirts of the city and was known for its roller coasters, fun rides, and a beautiful garden that surrounded it. As the family reached the entrance of the park, they were greeted by a crowd of people. The park was teeming with visitors, and the girls could barely contain their excitement. They spent the whole day exploring the park, enjoying the rides and eating cotton candy. But as evening approached, the girls realized they had lost their way. They had wandered too far and couldn't find their way back to the entrance. Panic set in as the sun started to set, and they were still lost in the park.
Where do you think we are? This doesn't look like the park anymore.
I don't know. I can't see anything. It's so dark.
What if we're lost? What if we never find our way back?
The only light they could see was coming from a distant tunnel, and as they made their way towards it, they noticed that the light was getting dimmer and dimmer. But with no other options, they continued to walk towards the tunnel, hoping it would lead them to safety. As they entered the tunnel, the air grew colder, and the sound of their footsteps echoed through the narrow space. The walls were lined with graffiti and moss, and the ground was slippery with water. The tunnel seemed to stretch on for miles, and they could barely see their own hands in front of their faces.
What is this place? It's like something out of a horror movie.
I don't know, but we need to get out of here. Now.
The light they had been following was now so faint that they could hardly see it. But they kept walking, their only hope of finding a way out of the park. The darkness was suffocating, and the sound of their footsteps echoed off the walls, making it seem as if they were not alone. As they walked, the sound of water could be heard, and it grew louder with each step they took. Soon, they found themselves ankle-deep in water, and the sound of rushing water was deafening. But they pushed on, trying to stay positive and hoping they would soon find their way out.
Do you hear that? It sounds like something is moving in the pipes.
I hear it too. It's giving me the creeps.
As they finally saw a light at the end of the tunnel, they breathed a sigh of relief. But as they got closer, they realized that the light was not coming from the outside world. Instead, it was emanating from a strange being that stood in their way.
What was that? Did you see something move?
I don't know, but I don't like it. Let's get out of here before it's too late.
The being had a humanoid shape, but was clearly not human. Its skin was pale, and its eyes glowed an eerie blue. It looked like it had come from another planet, and it stood there silently, blocking their way out of the tunnel. The sisters froze in fear, their hearts racing as the being slowly started to move towards them. It seemed to be studying them, its eyes flashing with a strange intelligence. But before it could reach them, the water in the tunnel started to rise rapidly. The sisters were trapped with no way out. The water continued to rise, and the sisters knew they had to find a way out or they would drown. They looked around frantically for an escape, but the being was still standing there, blocking their way. Just as they thought all was lost, they noticed a small hole in the ceiling of the tunnel. They managed to climb up, using the handholds, and pull themselves out of the water. They climbed through the hole, emerging into a small, abandoned room. They were safe for the moment, but they could still hear the sound of the rushing water. It was coming from a pipe in. They realized that they were in a part of the city that they had never seen before. It was dark, and the only light came from a single flickering light bulb above them. They felt like they were in another world, far away from the busy streets and bright lights of the city. As they tried to make their way out of the room, they heard strange noises coming from the pipes. They sounded like whispers and moans, like the pipes themselves were alive. The sisters knew that they had to get out of there before something terrible happened. They pushed open a heavy metal door and found themselves in a long, narrow alleyway. The alley was completely empty, and the only sound was the rushing of water. They looked around, trying to find any signs of life, but there was nothing but darkness. As they made their way down the alley, they noticed that the water was rising again. The sound of the rushing water grew louder and louder, and the sisters realized that they were in grave danger. They started to run, hoping to find a way out of the alley before the water swallowed them whole. But just as they were about to turn the corner, they saw a figure standing in their way. It was the same being they had seen in the tunnel. Its eyes glowed in the darkness, and it had a sinister smile on its face. The sisters knew they had to get past it, but they had no idea how. Suddenly, the water burst through the pipes, and the sisters were swept off their feet. They felt themselves being pulled down into the darkness, unable to breathe or see anything. Just when they thought all was lost, they felt a strong hand grab onto them and pull them to safety. They looked up to see a group of people standing over them, their faces obscured by the darkness. The sisters realized that they had stumbled upon a secret society, a group of people who lived in the underground tunnels and pipes of the city. They had saved the sisters from the water and the being, and they were grateful.
I can't believe we made it out of there alive.
I know. That was the scariest thing I've ever experienced.
Did you see that being? It was like something out of a nightmare.
I don't even want to think about it. Let's just be glad we're out of there.
Do you think anyone will believe us if we tell them what happened?
Probably not, but it doesn't matter. We know what we saw and we'll never forget it.
As the sisters were led to safety, they looked back at the darkness behind them. They knew that they had survived a harrowing experience, one that they would never forget. The city was not just the bright lights and busy streets that they had thought it was. There was a whole other world beneath their feet, one that was dark, mysterious, and filled with danger.